What's for lunch? Marlins and Rockies. That's right, JJ's on the hill, Sun Life Stadium. This 4-game series finishes. The Marlins have taken 2 of the first 3. Right now, he's the best pitcher in baseball. Josh Johnson going for the fish going for a series win. A real opportunity for the Marlins this afternoon on Camp Day. Over 17,000 campers expected. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hunt. The Marlins are happy campers right now because, Tommy, they have an opportunity to win a 4-game series. It's not easy to do, especially against a team as good as Colorado.
You know, JJ has pitched so well this year following a Marlins loss. This is a different scenario in this one. This is an opportunity when he's pitched so well in the daytime in his career to pitch after a win and also to try to win this series.
He's on a roll right now, Josh Johnson, of historical proportions. You know, his last time out against the Nationals, he only went 6, but he was outstanding.
You know, early in the game, they worked him. They got the pitch count up a little bit, but you know what? He did not give up a run in his 6 innings of work. He's gone 12 straight starts where he's given up 2 earned runs or less. You talk about a horse, 17 straight starts for JJ where he's gone 6 innings or more, and he expects to do at least that this afternoon against the Rockies.
So many numbers to talk about, JJ. How about his numbers in his career in day games? Look at that. He's 15-2.
Yeah, you add that with the fact that he's pitched so well at home, but 15-2 in his career with an ERA a little over 3 in the daytime, that is remarkable.
Another thing that's remarkable is he keeps winning, and the Marlins are not supporting him with runs. Last night, though, they got some early runs for Ricky Nolasco. They need to do that tonight.
I think that's really important, Rich, in a day game when it's warm in the afternoon. You get early runs for JJ. You have your horse on the mound. It can really help. The Marlins were able to do that last night, and I think you could see the residual effect it had on Ricky Nolasco, who really settled in to pick up his 10th win. But some early runs, big base hits, Hanley, Dan Uggla, Jorge Cantu, and, of course, the big shot, the 3-run home run hit by Gabby Sanchez.
Let's talk a little bit about Jorge De La Rosa. He's a lefty. The Marlins have seen him this year. He's been injured, been on the disabled list for over 2 months, a finger injury, and hasn't pitched well coming off the DL. Marlins saw him in Colorado. He didn't last long, but in the 5 innings, he pitched pretty well.
5 innings, he gave up a couple of runs in the game at Coors Field. But here's the guy, when he's on, his career high in strikeouts is 12. Guess who he did that against? He did that against the Marlins in 09. He can get a little erratic, so you have to be patient. You have to try not to go out of the strike zone in facing him.
There you have it. We've set the table for you. Whether it's lunch, or if you're watching on the West Coast or the Midwest, whether it's brunch or breakfast. We've seen some aces, haven't we? Cy Young discussion, Halladay, Ubaldo, JJ. We'll throw that out for you next. seems to be when Josh Johnson is starting, and he's the topic of conversation for Craig and Niner. Gentlemen?
Rich, why not? JJ, fortunately, I think from the All-Star game, getting a little more notoriety around the Major League Baseball fans, saying, wow, all the players know how great he is. What makes him, first of all, so great?
Well, I think character and work ethic is right at the top of my list. He's a big, imposing guy out there, but he works harder than anybody. He's got better stuff than anyone, and he really tries to hone his craft every time out there with his pinpoint control, which is very rare for a guy that throws as hard as he does, but you very rarely see him make a mistake over the white part of the plate.
Boy, guys always talk about that nasty slider that comes in at 91. Now, when you talk about the Cy Young candidate, certainly JJ is very much in the conversation. The one number he doesn't have is the win leader. That's Jimenez, as we saw earlier in the series. But the ERA is so staggeringly better. And in an era where nobody's going under 2, if he keeps it under 2, is he the front runner? Or if Jimenez wins 22, 23 games, is it hard to go in that direction?
I think the ERA is definitely a determining factor. You look at his whip, which is walks and hits per innings pitched, is third in baseball right now. You look at last year, we had Tim Lincecum, who only had 15 wins compared to Chris Carpenter's 17, and Wainwright had more wins than he did. But his ERA was so low, and he was so dominant. The rest of his stats were so dominant as far as strikeouts, hits, ERA. You really give more consideration to a guy like that.
13 more starts to go for JJ. You'd have to think he has to win a good 6, 7 at least of those to get his win total up in the neighborhood of 20, unless somebody goes crazy. Jimenez already has 15. Should be fun to watch. Josh Johnson on a nice, hot South Florida afternoon. JJ De La Rosa, Game 4 of the series next.
By Toyota, moving forward, and by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Got some day baseball for you. The Marlins and the Rockies. Here come the Rockies. Still have some injuries. Some guys out of the lineup. Seth Smith in right, Jonathan Herrera at second, Jason Giambi at first, Melvin Moore is in left, Ian Stewart at third. Carlos Gonzalez is out, so Spilborg's in center. Olivo catching, Barmes and De La Rosa And JJ delivers a fastball that misses outside. Seth Smith, Jonathan Herrera, and Jason Giambi.
Yeah, they actually had Dexter Fowler in that lineup, the switch hitter, but he's had some wrist issues that bothers him swinging the bat. I think the key for JJ on a day like this, early strikes, try to get some quick outs, don't worry too much about strikeouts, and go deep into the game.
There is strike one, and it's 2-1. JJ last time out was extended in the first inning and ended up going 6 shutout innings in a 2-0 win over Washington. It counts 2-2 here.
Rich, the last time Josh Johnson gave up more than 2 earned runs in a game was back on May 8th at Nationals Park in Washington. And even in that game, 6 innings, he gave up 6 hits and 3 runs.
.96 on that fastball. And it's 2-2. The numbers are all incredible. 1.62 ERA. The only sub-2 ERA in baseball. And he gets a fly ball to center. Cody's out there. And he makes the catch. Here's the Marlins defensively. Brought to you by TGI Fridays.
Well, you see Chris Coughlin, Cody Ross, Mike Stant. The one change in the infield. Donnie Murphy getting the start this afternoon at shortstop. And Ronnie Paulino, who got last night off. And the reason for that, Edwin Rodriguez wanted Ronnie catching Josh Johnson. Hanley's got a little stiffness, a little soreness in his back. And actually, the last time Hanley did not start a game was sometime in June.
Not of his choice in that one. JJ misses outside with a fastball. Jonathan Herrera has been outstanding for the Rockies as they wait for Troy Tulowitzki, who's actually rehabbing in Colorado Springs right now. But Herrera has hit in 26 of 28 games at a .350 clip. Hit a big home run early in this series. Looked overmatched on that fastball, and it's 2-2.
I guess the question is, if you're a Rockies fan, what happens when Tulowitzki comes back? And I did get a little bit of an answer earlier today.
Jim Tracy, of course, the manager of the year last year.
They'll have Tulowitzki at shortstop, and what they plan on doing, Herrera can play third base also. So you'll mix and match with Barmes, Herrera, give Tulowitzki a spell every once in a while at short, spell third baseman Ian Stewart, and get Barmes in at second, Herrera at second. So kind of mix and match.
Where is JJ working Herrera? 3, 4, and 5 are in the exact same spot. They're back to back to back. Now he comes inside.
That time with a slider.
And it's 2-2. But the Rockies lineup without Tulowitzki. Todd Helton was supposed to come off the disabled list a couple days ago. They want him to play in some rehab games. He's rehabbing in Double-A. Big fastball and the first strikeout. And Carlos Gonzalez, who came out of the ballgame last night with a sore finger, he, a left-handed bat, obviously would be in the lineup against JJ, and that forces a guy like Giambi to go night game, day game, something they've really stayed away from this year, the Rockies have.
Yeah, when you're 38, you don't do that too often, and Giambi's back in there.
It's hard enough for us to do that. A noon start after a game last night. But it's camp day, Tom.
A couple of extra cups of coffee.
There's the changeup. Giambi was out in front of it.
See, Giambi had himself geared to catch up with a 96 or 97 mile an hour fastball, and he got the JJ change.
JJ really hasn't had a lot of starts against the Rockies in his career. This is just his third. He has made a relief appearance. He's 2-0 with a 1.04 ERA, though.
2 changeups in a row. That one painted perfectly.
Made a couple starts last year, beat him both times. That one runs away. He did not pitch in the series in Denver. The series in which the Rockies took 2 of 3. The Marlins have taken 2 of 3 so far. This, the end of a 4-game set. JJ back on the hill, the 2-2 coming. He's gone full to Giambi. A 30-pitch first inning, his last start against Washington. And he's at 18 pitches here.
Really throws some good changeups to Giambi. And we talked about it last night. Giambi in his career, a .400 on base percentage. He's always been a grinder at the plate, a guy with power, a guy with a good eye.
3-2 coming. Oh, right down the middle. Center cut. 98 miles an hour. Good morning. Try to hit this.
One more cup of coffee for Giambi.
At Sun Life Stadium, warm afternoon in South Florida. Marlins look this way. Chris Coughlin back. Was 1 for 2 with a couple walks last night. Donnie Murphy gives Hanley the day off. Look at Gabby and Josh Johnson starts. Almost 400. Uggla's in the cleanup spot. He had a big RBI double, as did Jorge Cantu last night. Cody Ross hit some line drives but had nothing to show for it. Mike Stanton doubled last night. Ronnie Paulino had the night off, and JJ hits ninth.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the 29-year-old left-hander who, by the way, led the National League in wins for left-handers last year with his 16-9 season. Also, in that season, one of his starts against the Marlins, he struck out 12. He is a guy, though, that can labor, throw the ball out of the zone. He'll try to get you to chase a lot of things. Very, very tough on left-handed hitters. Of course, Chris Coughlin, the only lefty in the lineup.
Coughlin leads it off, then Donnie Murphy, then Gabby Sanchez. 29-year-old Jorge De La Rosa. First pitch fastball for a strike. Coughlin returned after a 3-game absence, a back injury, and he looked good at the plate last night. He walked twice, singled, and bounced out. That one is low and away. Marlins need Chris back in that groove. His average dipped down into the low 260s. He had it up in the mid 280s at his highest point since his struggles in April and May. Fly ball left field, and it's out of play. Jorge De La Rosa has had an interesting path to get here to Colorado. He's out of Monterrey, Mexico, signed as a teenager with Arizona. 2 years in the minors with Arizona, went back to the Mexican League. Then Boston signed him, 2 years in the minors with Boston. Finally got to the big leagues with Milwaukee, 3 years with the Brewers. Then over to Kansas City for 2 years with the Royals. As Tommy pointed out, he had an outstanding year last year for the Rockies. But it didn't start that way. I mean, this is a guy that was 0-6 last year. And from June 1st on, he went 16-3. The first pitcher in the major leagues to do it since 1899. That's incredible. That's to go 0-6 and then win 16 games from that point on. Wow.
And I think it's important, too, Rich, in a day like today, to work De La Rosa, make him pitch out there, make him stay out there on this hot afternoon.
It's down low,
just like
walks. I'll tell you what, the at-bats that Chris Coghlan has had the last 2 ball games have been huge improvements from his last 3 weeks. TGI Fridays brings you the defense. Hut.
Well, how about for the second time in this series, Melvin Moore in left field, Spielborgs and Smith, Stuart Giambi at the corners, Barmas Herrera, and our good friend Miguel Olivo behind the plate.
Donnie Murphy, who burst upon the scene with an incredible pinch hit 2-run homer, a wild start to this series, that on Monday night. And Murphy takes down low from De La Rosa. This after an ugly walk, the first walk that closer Houston Street had given up all year. The Marlins, who had the lead and then lost it, got it back on 1 swing. Coghlan back on the throw to first. And Murphy, a versatile guy, can play all 3 infield positions. Heck, he could probably play first if you asked him to as well.
Yeah, and if you talk to Edwin Rodriguez, who had him in AAA, his best position defensively is shortstop.
Murphy in a pinch hitting role a couple of nights ago, nearly hit another one out. He drove one out of here that was just foul to left field. Coghlan's running, little hit and run, and Murphy fouls it off. Miguel Olivo has been outstanding this year in throwing out runners. We focus on Olivo's offense because he's been hitting over 300 and has had such big hits, big home runs, especially against the Marlins in that series in April. But defensively behind the plate, he's really come a long way. Look at this, Tommy. Miguel Olivo right behind Yadier Molina.
And you know what? When the Marlins got Miguel Olivo, he'd been with the White Sox, and one of the knocks he had with the White Sox was his defense. Pretty good breaking ball there.
Yeah, there's the breaking ball, and it's 1-2.
His is more of a slurve, an in-between slider and curveball.
Came inside. Murphy took it, and it's 2-2. Scott Berry is calling balls and strikes. Bill Welke, Mike DeMuro, and Jim Reynolds out on the bases. Counts 2-2. That's kind of a funky move to first. Coghlan, not a big lead. And a slide step. It's 3-2.
And you would expect Chris Coghlan to be moving on this 3-2 pitch. Check out the scouting report on De La Rosa. He does sling the ball toward the plate. He had that strikeout high against the Marlins, 12, and 16 wins last year, the most of any left-hander in the National League.
Murphy goes after a pitch in the dirt and goes down, and Coghlan was not running. And so De La Rosa gets his first strikeout. That 12 strikeout game was back in May of last year. Here comes Gabby now. And our Geico quote of the day is from the Marlins first baseman, Rookie of the Year candidate, talking about hitting it out to center. It's not an easy spot in this park to hit a home run. I definitely wasn't standing at home looking for it to go over the fence.
Well, I tell you what, there are so many categories that you find the name of Gabby Sanchez. And one of those, not just amongst rookies, but amongst all hitters in the National League, Gabby hitting .350 against lefties. That's 5th in the National League.
Last year's Rookie of the Year is at first base, and it was a torrid second half for Chris Coghlan. For Gabby Sanchez, if he's going to win the Rookie of the Year, it may be the
the tortoise and the hare type. You know, slow and steady,
just steady
wins the race.
Yeah, that's a great point, because that's all he needs to do is stay steady.
Because you look at his totals, he has 100 hits. The next closest rookie is Ike Davis with 77 hits. Now, Gabby is behind in RBIs, behind Jason Hayward by 4. But you got to remember, Jason Hayward, number 1, has been hurt. And number 2, Jason Hayward has been in an RBI spot in the lineup from day 1. Gabby started the season hitting 8th, then got promoted to 7th, and has been hitting 2nd. And today he finds himself in the 3 spot, which I think down the line you're going to see Gabby Sanchez in a 3, 4, or 5 spot in a batting order, in a run-producing spot.
I think a 3 spot's a great spot for him, because a lot of times managers, baseball people will say the number 3 hitter is your best pure hitter. Maybe not your home run hitter, maybe not your best RBI guy, but your best pure hitter.
And I think right now, Gabby Sanchez is the Marlins' best pure hitter.
Absolutely.
He certainly has been the most consistent this year. Gabby drives that ball left center field, hits it pretty well. Spilborg's on the run, he won't get it, it's off the wall. Here comes Coghlan around third. Best pure hitter makes it 1-0.
I smell some pureness. Oh, what a nice double. Remember, the home run was straightaway center, so they're playing him straightaway a little shaded to right. This one he pulls, and it's our checkers double of the game. Even though it had a lot of hang time, because the center fielder Spilborg was over, he couldn't catch up to it. It drops for the 2-base hit. Gabby Sanchez now has 23 doubles, and the Marlins have a run.
And those 23 doubles, head and shoulders above any other rookie in the National League. Here's Uggla, who had a very important hit last night. An RBI double in the first. It got the Marlins on the board. And it stopped a real slide for Uggla, who was 0 for in the series. And 1 for 16 on the homestand before that hit. That was against Jason Hamill. Dan takes a strike. Individually, the Marlins against De La Rosa have some decent numbers. Uggla is 4 for 11 with 3 RBIs, a couple walks, and 3 strikeouts.
And the guy on deck has done pretty well against him.
Jorge Cantu. Uggla, big swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Georgie followed Uggla's double last night with a double down the right field line.
Jorge Cantu 4 for 9 against De La Rosa.
De La Rosa's out in front 1-2. Gabby's at second. And he got him. Uggla goes down hacking.
Saw some good pitches that time from De La Rosa. Breaking ball got him on the strike 3 through changeup earlier in the count.
Cantu and Olivo exchange greetings. 5 for 10 in the series, Cantu, and he's driven in 2 runs. Of all the Marlins, it seems as if the All-Star break has done the most for Jorge Cantu's bat.
I think we talked about that prior to the break. Looked like Georgie was just getting a little tired. So he benefited from the 4 days off.
Couple of native sons of Mexico meeting here. De La Rosa and Cantu.
Well, I was watching Gabby Sanchez, and he was really timing De La Rosa, and De La Rosa was not giving him any looks at all. And a couple of pitches before that, Gabby started inching off and finally just took third and didn't even draw a throw.
Yeah, the infield is so deep for Cantu. No one is even in the neighborhood of third base, or of second base. With Sanchez at third, Cantu fouls it back against the screen.
The Gabby now 4 for 4 in steals this year.
But De La Rosa has gone 2-2 now.
And that might seem like a little thing, but you know De La Rosa can uncork a wild pitch.
Fastball, Cantu fights it off. If the Marlins are to make a run, they need everybody producing. And it's a good sign that Cantu's bat has come back to life. The Fish now 2 under, 46 and 48. Sanchez at third. And down goes Cantu. Well, De La Rosa strikes out 3, but the Marlins get a run. A walk to Coughlin, and another big hit from Gabby. With Cody Ross visiting participating South Florida Jiffy Lube, and register for the Play Catch with Cody sweepstakes. You can win 1 year of free oil changes, plus the chance to play catch with Cody Ross and more. Visit Jiffy Lube for details. Jiffy Lube is the official oil change of the Marlins. Melvin Mora, Ian Stewart, Ryan Spilborghs against Josh Johnson here in the second. JJ pours in a strike. He's out in front 0-2.
JJ has a good quick pace out there too.
Fly ball right field, Stanton in pursuit. Mike reaches and makes the catch. Look at that, it almost went through the glove. He has been really outstanding in right field.
This ball continued to slice away from him. He stayed with it a couple of steps away from the fence, and look at how he catches it. Not really even in the webbing. It's between the fingers, and it stays in the glove, and he's able to keep his concentration. Magnificent.
Here is Ian Stewart. JJ out in front 0-1. Stewart, a home run in this series, a couple of doubles last night. JJ came in with the slider. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. So many numbers to talk about for Josh Johnson. This is his 97th career start. Stanton again looking. This one isn't coming back. That one is gone. Ian Stewart, second homer of the series. Just the 5th that Josh Johnson has allowed this year. And this ball game is tied at a run apiece.
He's thrown all 3 of his pitches early in the game pretty well. Let's see where this changeup stays. It didn't have the movement that he had on some changeups to Giambi. It's only the 5th home run that Josh has allowed this year.
So a 1-1 game. And here comes Spilborghs. Ryan Spilborghs getting the start in center field with Carlos Gonzalez still hurt. The Rockies are running the gauntlet of good pitching here on this road trip. They ran into a Red staff that was and is very good. They got Nolasco last night and JJ here. And of course they head to Philadelphia. We're waiting for them tomorrow night. Will be the doctor.
That's been a pretty trying road trip. They've had a few cities and started with the 3 games in Cincinnati, 4 here, and they have a 4-game series in Philadelphia.
Roy Halladay against Aaron Cook, and the series concludes on Monday. Phillies rotation is a little bit unsettled right now. Fastball up, and JJ walks Ryan Spilborghs. So a homer and a walk, 2 things JJ doesn't do much of in back-to-back hitters. David Villavicencio. Friday during the game we'll have a live chat on foxsportsflorida.com. Voice your opinion, chat with David and other fans about the game. Log on to foxsportsflorida.com. Tomorrow at 7, the Marlins take on the Braves.
You mentioned the Philly issues in their rotation. They had sent Kyle Kendrick down, and then Jamie Moyer had to leave the game after just an inning of work with elbow troubles. So he's going to be out a while.
Here's Olivo 0 for 5. He hadn't had a whole lot of those this year. You see his numbers. He had 2 big home runs against the Marlins in April in Denver.
That was when he was just starting to catch fire.
And then after that, about every 3 or 4 days, you'd see on the highlights another big Olivo home run. 0-2. Man, there were some long games in baseball last night. Some extra inning losses, especially for a couple of teams in the East. The Braves, Billy Wagner blew a save in the 9th inning against the Padres, and then the Padres won in 12. 6-4, they beat Atlanta. Down goes Olivo. So there are 2 outs.
And Nick Hundley did a big double to drive in those 2 winning runs.
The Mets last night played 14 innings in Arizona before Arizona beat them 4-3.
There were some tough offers in that box score, too.
Oh, yeah. Jason Bay 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts. Ike Davis 0 for 5, 3 strikeouts. And the Diamondbacks have really been a pain in the neck for the Mets. That's not been a good West Coast swing for the Mets. They dropped a couple in San Francisco.
3. They 4-game series. They won just 1.
And now the Diamondbacks aren't treating them all that well. Clint Barmas at the plate. JJ chases Spilborghs back.
The Dodgers snapped their 6-game losing streak. They had a 6-game streak on the line. They beat the Giants 2-0, mainly because Chad Billingsley pitched a shutout against San Francisco.
This is into Barmas. Houston and the Cubs played 12 innings last night. Houston got 3 runs in the 12th. Then the Cubs got 2 runs in the 12th. Came up a run short, 4-3 the final. Barmas fouls it back. Washington beat Cincinnati 8-5. Steven Strasburg got the win. He's 5-2.
You know, he was okay in that game. Went just 5 2/3. Gave up 7 hits and 3 runs. Had a walk and 7 strikeouts.
1-2 outside corner. Struck him out. But the Rockies are on the board. And they do it with an Ian Stewart home run. Teams look to move up in the standings. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, returns this week at 4 Eastern. We're in South Florida today, wherever you might be watching, whether you're in the state of Florida or out there on MLB Extra Innings, MLB.TV. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, and Jeff Conine with you. Marlins and Rockies finishing off a 4-game series. And a 1-1 ball game. Both pitchers at times have looked overpowering, but both pitchers have given up some big hits. It's a Gabby Sanchez RBI double that did it for the Marlins, and the Ian Stewart solo homer against Josh Johnson that tied the game. Cody Ross, strike 1. Cody hit a couple line drive outs last night, but it has been a long homestand for him. Just 3 for 20. He's behind in the count 0-2.
Yeah, you were talking about the Mets, Rich. They've gone 2-8 over their last 10 games. And a tough way to start the second half. Everything on the road out west. There's that big sweeping breaking ball from De La Rosa. When he gets his secondary pitches over, that's when he starts to pile up the strikeouts. I got to believe that's a strike.
Yeah, it is. Cody got a real break. Anything close here, I think you got to be hacking. That one came so far, it fooled Scott Berry. And see, Cody knows.
Yeah, that's one where you have to swing at anything close the next pitch.
And almost for the rest of the at-bat, right? I mean, if there's a borderline pitch the rest of this at-bat, De La Rosa probably going to get the benefit of the doubt.
If you're De La Rosa, you can really expand the strike zone, and you can throw that breaking ball out of the zone. You might get the call, but you're for sure going to get Cody to swing. Going up with a fastball.
Cody was on it, drives it left field. That ball's deep. That ball's gone!
You can't do that to Cody Ross.
2-1. Marlins.
Well, that's a nice answer back to the solo shot that Ian Stewart hit that tied the game.
Really surprised he went with a fastball.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it at all. He had the chance to get him to chase a breaking ball just because he had thrown a pitch that was missed, and he tried to sneak that fastball by Cody Ross. He probably wanted it up a little bit higher.
Here's Stanton. Here's our pitch by pitch.
Yeah, watch this at bat. He starts him with a good pitch to hit, a fastball. Then the changeup. Then that curveball that just missed. And then the emergency swing. Now here's the fastball that they want up. It was over the middle of the plate, not in enough. And Cody really cranked.
So the Marlins get a break. Cody wasn't rung up on a pitch that was in the strike zone, and he takes advantage of it. Stanton sitting on a 2-0. Mike hits that ball up in the air to right. We've seen Seth Smith over in left and in right in this series, and he makes the catch. So the balls carry it pretty well here. And it started on Monday night, and I don't know if the wind patterns have changed. I know the weather this weekend is supposed to be a little wet, but the ball really jumped to right on Monday night, which is rare in this ballpark. It's really tough, Tommy, in this huge, monstrous football stadium, as Ronnie stands in, to know which flags to look at to get a gauge as to how the wind's going. I mean, do you look at the ones out in center that...
No, you really can't look at the flags. You just have to get a gear down on the field, because they could be going one way, but then it kind of swirls around and actually goes the other way.
Those are the flags that sit out in center field.
Day games are tough in this ballpark. Bright sun, bright seats.
Those are the left field flags. Counts 2-1. Paulino against lefties is usually good news for the Marlins.
You know how we love sample sizes. You go back to 2005, and I'm talking 468 at bats ago against lefties, and Ronnie's hitting 335.
So you have a career as a pollster or a statistician after baseball.
And you saw the numbers this year, over 340.
Cue shot, and De La Rosa makes the play. Paulino is out. Here comes JJ.
They have the makings of what?
A pollster. You know, the guys that do those polls, political polls.
Oh, a poll. I thought you said an upholster. Okay, a pollster. I like that. That makes sense.
Yeah, because you need the big sample size.
Yeah, you need the big sample size. And there's always, what, a 10% error?
Yes. One way or the other. They got the Harris poll. I'm waiting just one day for the Hutton poll.
The Hutton poll.
There's the left field foul pole. Ball and a strike. Hope you had a chance to watch Marlins live today. Frank Fort with our stadium update. Just incredible what's going on and how quickly that ballpark is going up down in Little Havana. The roof section behind the first base side has taken shape. I think they said in 6 weeks the lower bowl will almost be intact. All the concrete will have been poured. A lot of the colored tiles are starting to go in.
That's when it's really going to take effect, when you start seeing the colors.
Different sections of the ballpark will have different colors. Green out in center field. JJ rolls one up the middle. Herrera. That's a nice play by Jonathan Herrera. But the Marlins back on top. They do it with a long ball. Cody's 8th of the season.
third inning here at Sun Life Stadium. One of the big plays of the game last night. In fact, Edwin Rodriguez really called it the turning point defensive play of the game was in the 6th inning when Cody Ross pulled out one of his miracle catches using a technique that he's used over the years. And that is not catching sesame seeds, but making plays like this one where he turns his head down, runs to where he thinks the ball is going, and then makes just a spectacular catch. Cody told me today he thinks it's in the top 3 of the best catches that he has ever made. And he said, it's a little scary when you first do it to try and concentrate and really rely on your instincts of where you think the ball is off the bat. It's an instant decision. And the good thing he thought was, I thought it was going out, so I knew how to run almost right to the wall. He said, I almost actually overran it and then adjusted and made a great catch. And I have caught about 50 sesame seeds, courtesy of, does anybody know who? I think it was him.
Oh, he's got the day off. So.
Showering.
I thought it was the kids from Camp Day.
Probably. A wasted sesame seed.
There it is.
And you're trying to concentrate and do a story, and you guys don't have to put up with that up there.
Well, we have other distractions up here. Strikeout of De La Rosa, and here comes Seth Smith.
Good to see JJ put away De La Rosa on 3 pitches.
I think that catch kind of sums up Cody Ross, though, in terms of what he is defensively. That's a play that if you watch it, I think the casual fan would say, it's a nice catch. But if you are a baseball person and know the game, you know how difficult that is. And while on highlight films there are center fielders that make diving catches and sprawling catches and all of that, Cody doesn't show up on a lot of those highlight films. That ball's hit well but foul.
That's because he doesn't play in New York. If you make that play in New York, it's all over everywhere.
All right, well, I'll give you that.
All right.
But my point is this. It's also because technically he is such a good center fielder. He takes great routes. He has good first steps. He's not the fastest. He's not the best at diving for balls. I mean, it's not a guy like Jim Edmonds that kind of times it so that it's spectacular and all of that. But if you ask scouts and people that watch the game every day, and you ask them about who are the best center fielders you see, Ross's name is in that conversation. And I don't think his name is in the conversation nationally in terms of elite defensive center fielders.
Think about that inning. That was also the inning that Cody made that catch, where Jorge Cantu made that throw to second. Dan Uggla was charged with an error, and that could have opened up to be a huge inning for the Rockies.
Seth Smith flies out, and here comes Jonathan Herrera.
I think the other thing, you and I have talked about it, the other thing that hurts Cody, he's been playing a lot of center field lately, but we see him all over in center and left and right. And so it's not like he's the guy on a team that's always in center field.
And a lot of that was because the guy that had been playing center field, Cameron Maben, isn't comfortable in right and left. And Cody is such a good outfielder, he can play both of those positions.
And Rich, to your point, today in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, there was a story about the Braves' interest in Cody Ross. And I believe Dave O'Brien, who's a very good writer, used to write down here, wrote something to the effect of that he's serviceable at the 3 outfield positions. If you watch him every day, you know he's way more than that. He's terrific.
Yeah, serviceable doesn't even begin.
No.
Well, we'll talk to Dave when he comes to town with the Braves.
Down goes Herrera, 1-2-3 for JJ in the third. plenty. Hot dogs, peanuts, nachos, popcorn, and soda as you can stand. All for one low price. Tomorrow night, Marlins and Braves, 305-626-SAVE.
Rich, you think they'll ever come up with an all-you-can-eat booth for TV broadcasters?
There are times that it seems like we have one of those. Camp day at the ballpark. This is the first game out of the chute in Major League Baseball, but there are afternoon games just getting started. The Nationals have scored first against the Reds. That's in the second, 1-0. Jorge De La Rosa to Chris Cogswell. Chris pulls a sharp ground ball to Herrera at second. And De La Rosa has an out here in the third with Donnie Murphy and Gabby Sanchez coming up. Our AT&T trivia question. Let's flip the phone. Marlins all-time wins leader in day games.
Okay, so you're talking pitchers. We've established the all-time Marlins wins leader is Dontrelle Willis. So D-Train had to have a lot of those in the daytime.
But JJ is what, 15-2 in the day?
JJ 15-2 in his career. Ricky became the number 2 wins leader in Marlins history last night with number 50. So I would assume a number of those were in the daytime. And JJ, in his career right now, Josh Johnson, 44-19 all over.
The 2-0 to Donnie Murphy. Why are some pitchers better in the day than at night?
I think they can just adjust to the routine change, because it's a change. And a lot of guys have their routine. And I think you have to, in order to be successful in day games, adjust that routine.
I was reading an article about Miguel Cabrera and how it was a Sports Illustrated article and how he's turned himself around on the field and off the field. His batting average in day games coming into this season was not real good. And that's started to change. And part of that is what Cabrera has done off the field.
Yeah, I think before he has made some changes, he didn't make those adjustments to get himself ready for day games.
Donnie Murphy works a walk. And that puts a runner aboard in front of Gabby Sanchez, who drove in the first run of the ball game with an RBI double in the first.
We're talking, Rich, about some other day games. San Diego's in Atlanta. The Phillies are in St. Louis. And the only day action in the American League, Toronto's at Detroit.
Gabby lines that one into center field. Man, is he locked in. Murphy stumbles, crashes, falls, and then gets back. I think Donnie is probably second-guessing himself that he didn't go to third base on this.
I think he didn't make the decision right away. High fastball, Gabby sends it. We talked about over 350 against lefties. Donnie Murphy looking over his shoulder. The second look is what got him, and that's when he slipped and fell down. But you're right. I thought he was going all the way without even hesitating, and a little bit of hesitation cost him.
Here's Ugla, who did not look good in his at-bat against De La Rosa in the first.
Yeah, we mentioned Gabby Sanchez, 5th in the National League with a 350 average against lefties, and that's gone up.
A strike to Ugla, and it's 0-1. Ugly just 2 for 21 on this homestand. And now the count is 0-2. When JJ starts, some interesting things happen. Look at what Gabby is. Look at what Ugly is. And the amazing thing is, lately, the Marlins haven't scored many runs for him coming into this start. His last 6 starts, the Marlins have scored all of 11 runs.
Look at the production. Gabby with 16 RBIs in JJ games.
Now is behind the count 0-2.
We ask and we receive. Gabby Sanchez now 366 against left-handed pitching.
Boy, De La Rosa has dusted off Uggla with breaking balls. 2 nasty curveballs have struck him out. Look at this.
That's the harder slider that De La Rosa just buried down and in to get Dan. He's gotten Uggla twice in this one today.
So it's up to Cantu to keep the inning going. He struck out in the first inning. It's just the 7th start of the year for De La Rosa. About 2.5 months on the disabled list with a torn tendon in the middle finger on his left hand.
That's a very important finger for a pitcher because you get a lot of pressure for breaking balls on that middle finger.
And his last 2 starts since coming off the disabled list were not good. 7 innings, 11 runs.
Last time out in Cincinnati, he gave up 3 home runs in his 3 1/3 innings.
Well, the Reds lost last night. St. Louis, a 1.5 game lead in the Central.
And those are the only 2 teams.
But Cincinnati right now is the wild card leader in the National League. Yeah, big drop off after those 2 teams in the Central. Down goes Cantu. When De La Rosa's needed a strikeout, he's been able to reach back and get it. By the authority of the Marlins, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without this express written consent of the fish. There's the express from Josh Johnson. Fastball for a strike.
Yeah, remember, good changeups that Giambi first at bat and then froze him with strike 3 with a fastball.
De La Rosa has struck out 5. JJ has struck out 6.
Most strikeouts for Josh in his career. Earlier this year, late April, he struck out 12 Padres.
He's at 57 pitches right now. De La Rosa is through 3 innings at 61 pitches. So both bullpens are going to be involved in this one. Giambi goes up, sends that ball to left. Coughlin settles and makes the catch. All right, who are you going with on the AT&T trivia question?
I'm going to go with Dontrell.
I'll go JJ.
All right.
Wow, A.J. Burnett and Dontrell Willis, with JJ tied with Ryan Dempster.
I'll tell you who would not have been on that list, and I'm sure is very low down, because he was horrible in day games. Brad Penny.
We showed you earlier. Here's another name for you, former Marlin, that I was stunned when I saw his name on this top 5 list. We showed you the whip leaders in the National League, with JJ at 0.97, tied for second.
And that's walks and hits total for innings pitched.
Look who's 5th.
Carl Pavano is having a tremendous year for the Minnesota Twins.
Look at that. Matt Latos and JJ tied for second behind Cliff Lee.
Pavano, an 11-game winner so far this year. And pitching tonight in Baltimore, 11-6 with a 3.48 ERA.
JJ has given up a walk and he's given up a hit. That hit was an Ian Stewart homer. Ground ball. Donnie Murphy gets his first taste of shortstop. Shows off a good strong arm. And here it comes, Ian Stewart. Hung a changeup to him.
Yeah, it's one of those things. The next time around, you say, do I throw him a changeup? Well, you could, because the one he hit was not a good one. It was middle of the plate, and he hung it. If you throw Ian Stewart sometime in this at bat, a changeup, it doesn't mean he's going to hit another home run. You just have to make it a good pitch.
Or a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Or if you have 97 miles an hour in your back pocket, you lay that in there. And then you fire it up there again.
Our Coors Light cold hard blast. This was it. That was that changeup. You saw it. JJ's reaction, the grimace. He knew he had missed with that pitch. And the Rockies are a very good hitting team. You can't make too many mistakes to them.
See, and that grimace isn't because of the way Stewart hit it. The grimace is because he knows he didn't throw it where he wanted to.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Talked about Stewart the other night. One of the few high school players that the Rockies drafted. In fact, the first high school position player to go in the first round. That was back in 2003. So he's still relatively young. He's just 25. There it was again. He finally came back with it, this time in a better spot, with a better result for Josh Johnson. to you by Marooney, South Florida. When you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? 1-877-MAROONEY. By South Florida Ford. Visit southfloridaford.com for great offers. By Checkers, Little Place, Big Taste. Stand by Salt. In theaters, July 23rd. Camp Day. Trying to stay cool.
Campers are out. They're all counting the days for when school will resume, I'm sure.
It's not a pleasant countdown for many. Here's Cody. De La Rosa came up with a fastball on 2 strikes, and Cody hit it out. Back in the second. Marlins got a run in the first.
Tried to run that fastball up and in, got it up but not in, and Cody took it out.
Nice catch up there in the blue seats. Ground ball. That's a nice pick by Stewart. That's a great play. Lost his footing while he was making the short hop, recovered, and Ian Stewart throws out Cody Ross.
And that's a play and a ball when you're in a real hot streak as a hitter. That ball skips by the third baseman and you get yourself a double. But that was a play that Stewart may look easy. A little bit of a slip. But then he made up for that with a strong throw over to Giambi at first.
Mike Stanton. Stanton fly to right back in the second inning. De La Rosa misses down low.
The thing that has helped De La Rosa today, he has had pretty good command with the curveball and the slider. Got a number of strikeouts on the breaking ball.
See if Stan gets something to hit here, 2-0. No, it's outside. Stan had a big home run on Monday night when the series opened.
Tell you what, he's been productive, Rich. 6 doubles, 6 home runs, a triple.
And he walks. And he's been doing more of that as well. And Stan can steal you a base. Jim Tracy knows that. Here comes Paulino.
It's a great shot over there because Giambi, if you stand by Giambi, he's a big guy. Doesn't look that big next to Mike Stanton. He's still pretty good size, though.
And that's last night when we had Andre Dawson on, and he was talking about Stanton. Number one, he remarked about the progress Stanton has made as an outfielder defensively. He said he's just blown away by how much better he is now than when he saw him in spring training. But he also said he thinks he's grown. That weight there is not accurate. He's at 240 now, and he may be a little taller than 6'5" now. He's not going to turn 21 until, I believe, November. He's still growing. De La Rosa likes that slide step with a runner at first.
He's one of those left-handers. He doesn't really have a great move to first base, but he mixes it up and he's pretty quick to the plate. And enough of a move to first to keep you honest. That's pretty much his best move there.
We told you about Paulino and lefties. He's hitting .346 against lefties, and he has always hit lefties well. Pulls that one foul. You noted that Paulino and Jim Tracy had a nice conversation earlier in the series. Paulino playing in Pittsburgh when Tracy was the manager in Pittsburgh. It's funny how the fortunes change for managers to get themselves in a good spot. I mean, Tracy, of course, fired in Pittsburgh, was the bench coach in Colorado for Clint Hurdle going into last year. Big swing and a miss by Paulino, who smashes his bat in anger. But for Jim Tracy, you know, if you ask someone, well, is Jim Tracy a good manager? you know what? Yes, he had a good run in Los Angeles, but coming off of Pittsburgh, you're kind of scratching your head. So he's with this Colorado bunch. Slow out of the gates last year. They fired Clint Hurdle, put Tracy in, and the team turns around. Tracy's the manager of the year, and he's rewarded with a contract extension. It's a conversation you and I have had many times. Managers are only as good as the teams they have. You think of all the guys that have managed in Pittsburgh. Are they bad managers? No. Think about the guys that have managed the Washington Nationals. Was Manny Acta a bad manager? No.
You put guys like Joe Torre and Tony La Russa in Pittsburgh, and they'd be mediocre managers, wouldn't be there very long.
JJ bounces out, and the Marlins leave that runner. We've played 4 in the heat in South Florida. It's 2-1. Just for Men hair color. Braves are coming this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Super Saturday. Diddy in concert. As we look forward to the Marlins schedule, you can live forward with Just for Men hair color.
Well, the one thing you want to do when you're trying to gain a little ground is play that team ahead of you. And the Braves atop the NL East. 6.5 ahead of the Mets, 7 ahead of the Phillies, and 9 ahead of the Fish.
Our Subway 5th inning. Play hard, eat fresh. Spielborg, Zalivo, Barmas. Yeah, the Marlins schedule over the next couple of weeks is pretty daunting. That's one way to look at it. But as you noted, if you're trying to get hot and you want to make a difference, you want to play the teams that are ahead of you. One of the tough things, and the Rockies are a great example of that, and I think the Marlins to a lesser extent. It's one of the inequities of the wild card race. We talked about Cincinnati being the division leader. The majority of their games are going to be against teams in their division. And quite honestly, the Central is not real good right now with Chicago, Milwaukee, Houston, and Pittsburgh all at the very least 10 under. The Rockies are going to play a bulk of their games against teams in the West, with the Padres and the Giants and the Dodgers. And the Diamondbacks, Stan Tank, oh, he did get to that one. Wow, he cut it off. I'll tell you what, one of the things that scouts talk about when they talk about Mike Stanton is the fact that he's an all-around athlete and that his football experience helps his baseball abilities.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a non-play because you're not going to get an assist to put out an error or anything. But that's a terrific play to keep Spilborghs from getting an extra base hit, a double, maybe a triple.
I know in this day and age of specialization, you start playing on travel teams and AAU teams, and there's a lot of pressure for young kids to play just one sport. Mike Stanton is a great example of his football experience and his basketball experience have helped make him the athlete that he is, and it is translating to helping him on the baseball diamond. The guy that was a wide receiver in a corner and is that big and moves that well. Spilborghs chase back. Olivo is up. Barmas is on deck. JJ with a 2-1 lead here in the 5th. Olivo pops it fouling out of play. So the wild card race, if you're in a division that is down, you actually have an advantage if you're a wild card contender.
You have a chance to win more games.
Yes.
Because if you finish second, but if you win more games than anybody else, you're going to be that wild card. You mentioned the West. The Dodgers are in 4th place, 6 behind the Padres, but the Dodgers have won 50 games.
You look at the East, not to the extent the West is. The one thing the East has a little bit better than the West is maybe a little bit better team in the basement, and that's Washington rather than Arizona. But the Marlins are 2 under. Then you've got the Phillies, the Mets, and the Braves on top at 55 and 39. JJ just missed to Olivo. 1-2 coming. The Rockies have done what the Nationals were able to do, and that's get Josh Johnson's pitch count up. 78 pitches already, and there's nobody out here in the 5th.
Yeah, that's the dilemma for some teams in the American League. The Red Sox, they're 7 games out, but they've won 53 games. They've won more games than the White Sox, who lead the Central.
Then you've got the American League West, which is always a quirky division because there's only 4 teams in it. Texas is 5 games up of Los Angeles. Oakland is showing signs of life. How about the kid from Hialeah, Gio Gonzalez, who won again last night? He's 9-6. I think his ERA about 3.75. Big swing and a miss by Olivo. Strikeout number 8 for JJ.
Yeah, the Rockies have worked Josh Johnson. The fact also that he has 8 strikeouts, that's going to take that pitch count up there. But right now you're looking at 6 innings. A 7th inning would be a bonus from Josh Johnson today.
The good news is 8 innings from Ricky Nolasco last night, and Leo Nunez was the only one to pitch out of the pen.
That's right. Edwin Rodriguez told us before the game the bullpen's in pretty good shape today.
Barmas tied up on that fastball.
In the first inning, Rich, JJ was 0 for 3 in first pitch strikes. First 3 batters did not throw a first pitch strike. 14 for 14 since. So I think to the Rockies' credit, they've been able to battle and have some pretty good at-bats.
Rockies are a banged-up team right now. Waiting for Tulowitzki to get back. Carlos Gonzalez is out of the lineup again today.
You made a good point. We were talking before the game. When we start looking ahead after the series against the Braves, the road trip, and Josh Johnson and Ricky will each pitch 2 times on the road trip.
Yeah, that's going to be a luxury. Although it'd be nice to have them around for the Braves series. 0-2.
Rich, you can't have everything.
Apparently you can't have that 0-2 pitch either. And it's 1-2. Let's Fox track it. See if it shows up on the radar. Yep, it was in. I think Scott Berry's worked a pretty good game, though. Jorge De La Rosa wishes he had called that pitch on Cody Ross a strike.
Yeah, prior to the home run.
Yeah, if everything shakes out, there's no rainouts this weekend, Ricky and JJ would open up the series in San Francisco, and they close the series in San Diego.
You got a feeling, two things on that trip. The pitching you're going to see and the ballparks you'll be playing in. You'll be playing some low-scoring games. You need to play sound, fundamental baseball.
Stanton giving chase, and it's out of his reach. One of these days, Tommy, we're going to see Stanton come towards that wall and hurdle it. I mean, literally take a leap and just jump over it.
Or he'll just run through it the way he almost ran through the wall in Arizona in the bullpen.
Just make sure Leo Nunez is out of the way. Another strikeout, number 9. This has been Josh Johnson's day so far.
Yeah, you've seen solid fastballs, 96, 97. There's a good example of some fastballs. Then you've seen some good changeups that have also helped him on the mound and picked up some strikeouts. The slider has been there. He's thrown that a few times. So he's really used all of his pitches.
JJ really wanted to pick that ball up.
That'd have been nice to get that one pitch out.
As it is, 4 2/3, 87 pitches. That's problematic for the Fish, in that they'd love to have JJ into the 7th and the 8th. That's the good news for the Rockies. De La Rosa's actually up there. He's thrown 74. Quickly, it's 0-2.
Well, the Marlins still holding on, though, to the 2-1 lead.
JJ misses. Fox track. Now that shows up as a strike, but that's not a pitch that JJ's been able to get, nor has De La Rosa been able to get that pitch today. Now that one, that is a strike. 10 punch outs for Josh Johnson. Coughlin coming up, 2-1 lead. With Craig Minervini.
Mitch. It's camp day here, and the Knights are here with us from North Miami. This is the great camp here. The Knights come year after year. This is Rivka Mendelson. She's the camp director. And tell us about your camp. It's a unique camp.
Yes, this is a very unique camp in the city. We service both special needs children and regular children from the community. It's a great camp, and our campers know that the Marlins can't win without them. They prayed for the Marlins today.
They made a nice sign. How long did it make you to sign there today?
What?
How long did it take you to make this nice sign there?
Just a few hours. A long time.
You got great spirit here. Why do you make the Marlins part of your camp activity during the summer?
We work on team activities. We value the work of teamwork, and we encourage our children to work together to accomplish things.
You're a subsidiary of the Children's Trust, too. You got the matching shirts. Everybody having a good time out?
We're having a great time. Thank you.
Are they good Marlins fans, your group?
Oh, my gosh. They are terrific Marlins fans.
Can you guys say, let's go Marlins? Good. Ready?
Let's go Marlins!
All right. Guys, good to see this group. They call them the Camp Knights from North Miami Beach.
Craig, what did they say about 17,000 campers expected?
Yeah, I think 17. You better have a matching shirt to get in here today.
That's why Rich and I got in today.
That's too. Now, great turnout this year. They moved them down to some really choice seats this year over the dugouts and even in the nice club level seats too. So good crowd.
I like the color scheme, all the different shirts.
Yeah, I see a group that Niner and Craig and you and I could fit right in. I see a group with blue shirts.
The Blue Man group.
Right down below us, actually.
Coughlin takes the strike from De La Rosa.
We'd have to have permission slips from home.
2-1 to Chris. He was walked and bounced out. There's the blue shirts.
See, there we are.
Ground ball to his left, Herrera. And his throw is just in time to get Coughlin. So Chris 0 for 2. Herrera's played pretty well out there defensively. He saved that one error that he made back on the opening night of the series. He atoned for it, of course, with the 3-run homer.
Well, I think he's really opened a lot of eyes in the Rockies organization anyway to see a guy they know can play multiple positions, switch hitter.
Here's Donnie Murphy. Murphy a strikeout in the first. He walked in the third.
Donnie Murphy back in 07 had over 100 at bats, 42 games with Oakland, hit 6 home runs for the Athletics.
Good check his swing. It's 1-1.
That was a guy that Edwin Rodriguez saw all the time in AAA.
Speaking of AAA, the Marlins are still not sure who's going to start Sunday's game. Chris Volstad is probably the leading candidate. Pitched last night.
Yeah, he did, and he only threw 3 or 4 innings and threw them okay, so it wasn't like he came out of the game because he wasn't throwing well. So that leads me to believe he may be the Sunday starter.
Murphy says it hit him in the foot. Scott Berry says it didn't. It's 2-2.
And unfortunately, the deciding vote there is Miguel Olivo, and he said, no, it didn't.
De La Rosa has been very good in this one. 7 strikeouts for the left-hander out of Mexico.
Well, Jim Tracy has to be pleased with what he's seen from De La Rosa today. Good sliders. Curveball's been there. His fastball has enough on it. And his controls there. I mean, he's walked 3, but that's an area of his game where he can really get out of whack. He walked 5 his last time out in Cincinnati in 3 1/3 innings.
This is a guy he's not been able to get out. Gabby RBI double and a line drive single. And he mixed in a stolen base.
Well, De La Rosa, too, has found his home with the Rockies. Between his time with Kansas City and Milwaukee, he was 15 and 23. has the Rockies 29-19.
Stewart has made that play a couple of times in this ball game. 1-2-3, a quick inning for De La Rosa. JJ back on the hill, 2-1 Fish.
Disponible en español vía Zap y es presentado por KFC.
Chance to check in with our Spanish broadcasters.
Richie, Tommy, how you guys doing?
Hi, guys. Tito.
Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo está ustedes?
Tito, good to see you.
Yeah, how are you?
Very good.
Very good. It's a pleasure to be here again, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you're doing a nice job so far.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep the lead. Keep the lead over there.
That's right.
Both pitchers have pitched well in this one, Cookie.
Well, I will tell you that Johnson is amazing on the mound, and De La Rosa, of course, a little shaky at the beginning, but they both are pitching a great game today, and it's good to see. You know, it's only allowed 2 hits to the Rockies, and then Marlins only 3 hits De La Rosa, so it's a great, great duel right now.
Now, JJ right now working on Seth Smith, top of the order for the Rockies. All right, guys, it's camp day. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
You too, guys.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
It's great to see all these kids here at the ballpark.
That's a foul ball at the plate. Josh Johnson is getting closer to 100 pitches. He's at 94 now.
In order for JJ to go back out and pitch the 7th inning, he needs a low pitch inning here. If not, on this warm afternoon, 6 is probably going to be it.
Ground ball, Ugla. And fires to first. There's an out. Seth Smith. Now he's got Herrera and Giambi to deal with. 10 strikeouts, a walk, 2 hits, a run for JJ. De La Rosa has thrown 85 pitches, 3 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Herrera has struck out twice. JJ still throwing hard. In terms of pitch count for Josh Johnson, obviously he's the Marlins ace and their horse. But remember, he's not that far removed from Tommy John surgery.
Well, and 32-9 since Tommy John surgery.
Ground ball. Gabby has it. Steps on the bag.
Here's the good news. Think about the refreshed Josh Johnson and Ricky Nolasco we'll see In San Francisco, temperatures are going to be in the mid-50s in the evening. And always lovely San Diego, where it's going to be 60s and 70s.
And even the Rockies pitchers, and it was Ubaldo Jimenez who commented about pitching in the heat and the humidity and how tough it is. It's an adjustment for pitchers that come in here. Giambi cracks one into right field, a base hit. 2-out single by Jason Giambi. So multiply that by, say you make 33, 34 starts a year, you're going to make 15, 16, 17 of them at home.
Well, JJ's been a little lopsided. This is his 13th start at home. He's 7-2 at home with an ERA of 141 coming into today. On the road, he's made just 7 starts. So sometimes it works out that way.
And in this division, once you get to June, I mean, if you're in the division, you're essentially pitching in heat. You're going to be pitching in Atlanta, D.C.,
Philly.
New York can get hot. Remember the series the Marlins had in Baltimore this year?
I think the low was 98.
And that was probably at 10 o'clock at night. Working on Melvin Mora. As a power pitcher too, Tommy, it's hard to change and pitch to contact because JJ gets, number one, pitches like that where guys foul it back, foul it off, or late on it. And then you get a lot of swing and misses. Giambi is running. Paulino's throw from his knees. And JJ goes to sleep on Jason Giambi, who ends up stealing a base. His second of the season.
Well, it's a heads-up play by the 38-year-old veteran, Jason Giambi, to realize that JJ slow to the plate, wasn't giving him a second look, and gets himself with 2 out in scoring position. All of this, Rich, is a credit to the work that Josh Johnson puts in to prepare for a game, and the amount of running, the amount of lifting to keep the stamina there in a game like today.
Threw that changeup on the outside part, and Mora pulled it. Melvin Mora has played every position in his career except pitcher and catcher. Longtime third baseman in Baltimore. 10 years in Baltimore, 2 times an All-Star. He's 2 years removed from a 100 RBI season in 2008. 104. And he had 23 home runs that year.
Yeah, Mora making his 4th start this year as a left fielder.
Fly ball center. Cody is there, makes the catch. It's 107 pitches for JJ. Not sure if he's good enough for the 7th. We'll see. nice Corona and lime. Enjoy Corona today. And by TGI Fridays, celebrate summer with the new Caribbean menu only at TGI Fridays. The Jungle Queen out of Fort Lauderdale. Camp day here at Sun Life Stadium. And right now the Marlins have a 2-1 lead over the Colorado Rockies. No high fives, no hugs in the dugout, just a cold towel over the head for Josh Johnson, which means in all likelihood he's headed out for the top of the 7th.
Just thinking Rich seeing the Jungle Queen cruising along there. That's near our favorite Tommy Bahama store,
Los Olas. Here's Ugla. Jorge De La Rosa has been a mystery to Dan Ugla and Jorge Cantu in this one. Both have struck out twice. Ugla on nasty breaking balls that have ended up down near his back foot.
And I think the oddity, and then a good changeup. The oddity of that is coming into the game, both Ugla and Cantu had pretty good numbers against De La Rosa. Ugla was 4 for 11, Cantu 4 for 9.
Ugla cranks one, but it's going to be foul and into the campers.
Valley seen a changeup, first pitch, curveball, second pitch. Be surprised if he tries to sneak that fastball by him the way he tried to sneak the fastball by Cody Ross.
I think a back foot slider is in order.
There's the slider. Aimed at the back foot.
It's 1-2. Ugla sitting on 16 homers and 53 driven in. There hasn't been a lot of run production for anybody on this homestand, and yet the Marlins have won 4 of 6. The pitch misses outside.
Yeah, right now the Marlins are 9-7 in July. And with their win last night, even their record under Edwin Rodriguez at 12-12.
The chopper, it's a foul ball. Ugla hustling all the way. It's going to take him a while to get back to the plate. Super Saturday, Sean Diddy Combs is the concert. The Atlanta Braves will be here. Braves and Marlins at 7:10. Fireworks spectacular. It's a Baker Concrete Super Saturday. A rally drum is in your future if you arrive for this one, 1-877 Marlins. Change up, and Ugla has gone down 3 times to De La Rosa.
Boy, frustrating afternoon for Daniel.
Coors Light freeze cam. Mike Stanton. How about that catch? Let's do some freezing. Look at how close that came to going through the glove. And that wasn't even that hard a hit ball. The Frostproof Coors Light freeze cam. Up the middle, Barmas has been steady at shortstop. Makes the routine plays, makes the tough plays look easy.
He's one of those guys, you have the feeling, and we don't get to see the Rockies all that much, but if you watch Clint Barmas on a daily basis, you're going to see the many ways he can help you win games.
De La Rosa is at a point now where his pitch count is just at 92. That a strike to Cody.
But I think he's getting pretty close to his limit in this one.
Well, coming off the disabled list after a little over 2 months on the DL.
Yeah, his third start, his first start off the DL, he threw 95 pitches, threw just 59 last time and 3 1/3 in Cincinnati.
One and two. He's really settled into a nice groove. The last hit the Marlins have was Gabby Sanchez line drive single in the third. He's retired 7 in a row. And 10 of the last 11. He yanks one foul.
I mean, all of his pitches have been tremendous. Sliders right there. Jose Ferris getting ready. In this situation, he's getting ready. Should he be called on to come in and clean things up in the 7th inning?
You saw Levo go in and then move out. Herrera makes the catch, falling over. De La Rosa, another 1-2-3 inning. Still a 2-1 game. And Jorge De La Rosa locked into this one. Ian Stewart provided the only run of the ball game for the Rockies. He took a changeup out to right center field. That was in the 2nd inning. And it's Stewart, Ryan Spilborghs, and Miguel Olivo who are scheduled here in the 7th. Josh Johnson, 108 pitches.
Just to give you an idea, the last 3 starts for JJ, he's averaged about 116.
Another fastball. Foul ball, 0-2. Looking for win number 11. He could very easily have 13 or 14 wins right now. The Marlins bullpen has blown 4 of his leads.
It's a good battle by Stewart there because that was a nice pitch from JJ, and he just threw a little emergency swing on it to foul it off.
And of course, one of his losses was the Roy Halladay perfect game in which the run JJ gave up was an unearned run. Struck him out inside corner. That's 11 strikeouts for Josh Johnson, 1 shy of his career high.
Well, look at that fastball move, and then the next time against the Phillies in Philadelphia, 8 shutout innings, to come right back and beat Philadelphia.
Spilborghs
Well, I think it was great to see Josh Johnson pitch the two tremendous innings he did in the All-Star game this year, because it brought a little more attention his way. He doesn't care about the attention. He said that. But for all of us who see him on a daily basis, it was good to see.
Leading up to the All-Star game, the Sports Illustrated cover with Roy Halladay and Waldo Jimenez. Nice big ESPN.com article on JJ. Spilborghs is the guy he hadn't been able to get out into the gap. Cody picks it up. Spilborghs trying to stretch it. The throw is offline. And Ryan Spilborghs with a hustle double for the Rockies. He has walked, singled, and now doubled.
Yeah, good base running by Spilborghs. Got the changeup. And Cody has to jump over that plastic bag out there, turn and fire. But even a throw on line, I don't think it's Spilborghs with some good base running.
Now Olivo is up. And here's the nitty-gritty, Tommy. You're at 116 pitches. You got a runner at second in a one-run game. Olivo has struck out twice.
And Barmas, the next hitter, has struck out twice.
0-1.
Well, as a manager, you never get that scenario you're hoping for. You're hoping for a nice 1, 2, 3, 7th inning.
He's going to run on that fastball. That's 0-2. So he's pumped a couple of fastballs by Olivo.
By a good fastball hitter.
Eight strikeouts in his last 11 ABs. Let's see what JJ goes with. Spilborghs, the tying runs at second. 0-2 coming.
JJ's career high in pitches is 121. He did that this year. It was in that Halladay perfect game.
Little flare, shallow right. Stanton comes in. It falls. And the Rockies are set up first and third. Miguel Olivo, just a little looper. And now Barmas and JJ. And here comes Edwin.
Well, he made a good pitch. Olivo didn't have a good swing, and he was able to bloop it just shallow enough to get it in front of Mike Stanton.
Josh Johnson not real happy out on the mound. Veras is coming in. And the Marlins, in all likelihood, going to make a double switch with Wes Helms coming in. End of the road for JJ. Runners at the corners. It's 2-1. Maroney calls the pen.
Truck obey. Who's gonna call?
frustrated he was unable to get the 3 outs here in the 7th. Miguel Olivo's looper to right field means that the Marlins make a double switch. Wes Helms is in at third base. Jorge Cantu is coming out of the ball game. And in Cantu's spot is Jose Veras. Marlins infield with Murphy and Ugla back for 2. Helms just behind the bag at third. And it's Veras against Barmes. Tying runs at third. And that one is just foul. Wow, good pitch. Barmes may have busted his bat. He did.
Yeah, Veras ran that fastball in on his hands. This is one time, Rich, you'd love to see the bullpen pick up Josh Johnson and keep it a 2-1 game. But a tough out in Clint Barmes, and then a pinch hitter, I would guess Brad Hopp.
De La Rosa right now is on deck, but that's probably a decoy at this point. Olivo and Spilborgh's at the corners. Veras has been very good since coming back up from AAA. You can see Barmes kind of lean in there, trying to clip that breaking ball with his shoulder or that left elbow. See? That's a smart player. Breaking ball was either in or low. Actually, it was neither. It was a strike, but not called a strike. Scott Berry really hasn't given that low pitch to anybody. 2-1 coming. Away with the fastball. And it's 3-1. Paulino wants another fastball. Now the count's full, 3-2. Well, he missed on the breaking ball in this sequence. So if you're Barmes, you're pretty much expecting another fastball.
I would think so. That's what you have to look for if you're Barmes in this situation.
Olivo runs well for a catcher. You never know, he might be on the move. There he goes, swing and a miss. Paulino's throw is wide of the bag. Holding at third is Spilborghs. The Rockies get a stolen base, but the Marlins get an out. And now let's see who's going to pinch hit for De La Rosa.
It's a good play by Dan Ugla. The throw a little off, so he initially and immediately comes off the bag just to make sure that runner from third base, Spilborghs, doesn't think about going home. So a good alert play by Dan, and a big strikeout from Jose Veras.
Brad Hopp.
Looking ahead at the way the inning could have unfolded, I was a little surprised not to see Taylor Tankersley warming up in the bullpen.
Veras misses outside.
You know they're probably not going to use Gonzalez because he would have been in the lineup every day. So the one left-hander they have is Brad Hopp.
That's sometimes the dilemma when you're a manager and you've got only one lefty. Because you have other lefties that are going to come up later in the game. 1-0. the dirt. Polino knocks it down.
Nicely done by Ronnie.
And it's 2-0. Got another lefty and a good one in Seth Smith on deck.
And then Herrera, switch hitter, and then Giambi, another lefty.
Pop, 1 for 9 in the series. You see his pinch hitting numbers. Ferris with a 2-0. And it's 2-1. Ferris, a veteran. This is his 143rd Major League appearance. Of course, with the Yankees and the Cleveland Indians. Did not pitch all that well with the Marlins early. Went back down to AAA. And right now he's trying to bail out Josh Johnson. The bullpen has blown 4 of JJ's leads this year. But this one a little tougher, though. JJ exits with runners at the corners and 1 out and a 1-run lead. Now there are 2 outs, runners second and third. 2-1 coming. Breaking ball in. Three and 1. Good hitters count. That's out. So up comes Smith.
Tough part there. You had a guy who is just coming off the bench, doesn't have good pinch hitting numbers, and you walked Hop. Now you have to deal with Seth Smith, who's been in the game, seen some pitches. He's 0 for 3, but he's had a chance to swing the bat.
Ferris has thrown a couple of breaking balls here that have been strikes on Fox tracks. That breaking ball that missed to Hop showed up as a strike, but he hasn't been able to get either of those calls. He throws a changeup that misses outside, and now it's 1-0 to Smith, who's 0 for 3, but has 5 hits, including a homer in this series. To the skies, tips his cap, and the Marlins get a huge break. Jose Veras seems to be saying in that last shot. Marlins and Rockies, along with Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine, Rich Waltz with you. 29,102 here on Camp Day, as the Marlins have a 2-1 lead over the Rockies. Bottom of the 7th inning. Of course, the Rockies pinch hit for De La Rosa, so Matt Belisle comes in.
Well, I can't say enough wows about that line drive that was speared by Jose Veras.
Mike Stanton, Ronnie Paulino, and then Wes Helms came in the double switch.
The Marlins saw a little bit of Matt Belisle in the first game of this series.
Stanton takes down low, and it's 2-1. Mike is flied out and walked. Clay Hensley getting ready. Lyle with the count now 2-2. Jammed him and popped him up. Barmas with the glasses down makes the catch. Our game summary brought to you by Land Rover, and you start it with some Josh Johnson.
Yeah, JJ was certainly on the mark this afternoon. The fastball was there. The changeup was there. One changeup, little mistake, out over the plate, and hit for a home run by Ian Stewart. You know what? De La Rosa was on his game too. Didn't make many mistakes, but one of them, that fastball to Cody Ross. How about the stab by Jose Veras? I think the ball was by him by the time he actually caught it.
Paulino now against Belisle. And Ronnie Paulino goes down. Beimel and Chassis. Belisle works quickly. Here's Wes Helms. We didn't even have time to get through our game summary, and he was 0-2 on Paulino.
Next time we'll have to tell Matt Belisle, hey, it's time for the game summary. Slow it down a little bit.
Helms going to step out, take a little bit of time. You see the home plate umpire, Scott Berry, with his hand up. 0-2 coming. And it's outside. So JJ ends up going 6 1/3, 120 pitches, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. De La Rosa 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts.
Both pitchers had their good stuff today.
Struck him out. Helms caught looking. That was quick. Matt Belisle, 1-2-3 through the 7th. on the field. Visit any participating South Florida Jiffy Lube. Register for the Play Catch with Cody sweepstakes. You can win a year of free oil changes and the chance to play catch with Cody Ross and more. Visit Jiffy Lube for details. Jiffy Lube, official oil change of the Marlins. 2-1 Marlins, 8th inning. To go back to the first game of the series, that wild ball game, it was Clay Hensley who came in and tried to get through the 8th. He was working for the 3rd consecutive game, and he flat ran out of gas in that one. Gave up the homer to Ian Stewart, then walked a couple, came out of the game, and that's when this guy took center stage and hit the 3-run homer against Jan Mariñez.
I think when we've seen Clay at his best, he's got command of the fastball, the sharp breaking ball, and the changeup. There was the changeup. I think when he struggles spotting his fastball, that affects the other pitches as well.
Last night, the Marlins, a 5-2 win, had Leo Nunez come in and throw 27 pitches to save the ball game.
You see a game like this with two pitchers on the top of their game, low scoring, and we've seen some good defense on both sides.
Home plate umpire Scott Berry is buying some time, I think, for Paulino. Oh, wait a minute. Now the umpire is asking the ball boy to come out. Yeah, he's buying time for Paulino. See, he's done everything, Tommy. He went to the mound to visit with Hensley. Then he asked the ball boy to come out. And then he cleaned the plate off.
And under his breath, that ball came off and caught Ronnie on upon the neck. Under his breath, we've been saying to Ronnie Paulino, "Are you okay yet? Are you okay yet?" I'm running out of stuff to do.
Professional courtesy. The men who wear the masks. It's a fair ball. Down the line it goes. Stanton picks it up. Herrera stops with a double, and the Rockies are right back in business.
Yeah, the curveball just get in far enough, and it's a pitch that Herrera can pull. You don't play him to pull. And he was able to keep that fair and shot it by Gabby Sanchez. So that's big for the Rockies to lead off this inning.
And now Hensley's got some veteran hitters to deal with. Giambi and Mora. Then you've got Stewart. You wouldn't be surprised to see Taylor Tankersley up in the bullpen. And there is Tank.
I'm with you, though, Rich. I think if the Marlins had another effective left-hander, not just a left-hander, another effective left-hander, we would have seen one of the two already in this game.
Here's Giambi now. He singled his last at bat. Herrera good speed at second. Hensley misses up. Hensley solid since coming off the disabled list. But a bump in the road certainly in the first game of this series.
And a big speed bump with that leadoff double from Herrera.
Up the middle, into center field. It's a base hit. Herrera coming home. Ross's throw is not in time, and the Rockies have tied it.
Fifth time this year. 5. Let me spell it out. F-I-V-E. 5 times the Marlins bullpen has not been able to hold a lead for Josh Johnson.
Rockies are going to pinch run for Giambi at first. Carlos Gonzalez, who is injured, but it's his hand, so obviously he's good to pinch run. The Marlins have to make sure they don't go to sleep on him. He's got 13 stolen bases this year. There's nobody out. And there's nobody throwing in the Marlins bullpen. At least not yet. Melvin Mora. Now Brian Sanchez is up.
Another no decision for JJ.
That hit him. So Hensley has come in. He's given up a double, a single, and he has hit a batter. And Sanchez's pace quickens in the Marlins pen. Because right now Clay Hensley just flat doesn't have it.
No, he doesn't. He's missed with pitches, missed battles with that fastball.
Here's a lefty bat in Ian Stewart.
I have to wonder if there's something wrong with Taylor Tankersley.
That's where I'm going. I'm with you. You suspect that something's not right.
You know, you have guys on their bench. If you were to bring in Tankersley and all of a sudden that Jim Tracy brings in a right-hander, that you'd rather face. You'd rather face an Iannetta or Brad Eldred.
Stewart is up there now and he takes a strike. Ian Stewart pumped one into the seats in the second. He has struck out twice since then. Gonzalez at second, Morris at first. There's another strike. Ground ball might be two. Ugla to Murphy. There's the turn. It's clean, and the Fish get two. A big double play. Gonzalez is 90 feet away with 2 outs.
Nicely done. The backhanded flip. Donnie Murphy on the first. So a big 2 outs there. And one big one to get to keep it a tie game.
Fox Exmo. This is a guy that's had a big day. And all of his at-bats against Josh Johnson when JJ was on. A walk, a single, and a double for Spilborns.
And amazingly enough, he was not in the original lineup that Jim Tracy made out. He had Dexter Fowler, the speedy, switch-hitting center fielder, in the lineup.
Betancourt joins Beimel now. And of course, had Carlos Gonzalez's hand been okay, it would have been Gonzalez.
He would have been there.
So he's like the third choice. Hensley's gone 2-0 on him, though. Drops in a changeup. It's 2-1. Olivo is on deck. Marlins have lost their lead. It's a tie game. Ground ball. Murphy in the hole. Plants and throws. Got him by a step. But the Rockies get a run. Marlins get out of the inning without any more damage. We go to the bottom of the 8th, tied 2-2. Just 3 hits in this ball game, and the Rockies make some changes. Brad Eldrick comes in the game at first base, and Joe Beimel.
Yeah, Joe Beimel may be in here just to face Chris Coghlan, the veteran lefty matchup guy. Hesitation in the delivery. He's funky. He's tough on left-handed hitters.
The Marlins have struck out 10 times in the 7 innings and don't have a hit since Gabby's single in the 3rd. So once again, we talk about the bullpen not protecting a J.J. lead. It was a 2-1 ball game. But again, the Marlins haven't scored runs for him. And for Josh Johnson, in his last 7 starts, the Marlins have scored, by my count, a total of 13 runs.
We'll see how Jim Tracy plays this with Beimel and then the string of right-handers after Chris Coghlan.
Check swing, and Beimel gets a strike on a pitch that was up. Coghlan mad at himself.
Well, this is a tough matchup for any left-handed hitter.
173. But lefties are hitting against Beimel. Coghlan pulls a ground ball into right field, a base hit. Now he hung a breaking ball on 0-1.
That's one that you run up the line and you almost feel like yelling out to the pitcher, I hit it like you threw it. Just found the hole, and that was the only guy that he was going to face. That's a good start with Chris Coghlan's single off the lefty specialist, Joe Beimel.
Rockies going right back to their bullpen in a 2-2 game. Marooney called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck, or van.
base hit off of Joe Bimo. Bimo exits. Jim Tracy and the Rockies, our Toyota trend. 20-27 on the road. 5 of their last 7 road games they've lost. And they seem to be all close ones. They had a tight series in Cincinnati, for sure. Of course, the Marlins, a 1-run win thanks to Donnie Murphy back in game 1 of the series. And last night, a 5-2 win.
It's going to be Rafael Betancourt. And we'll see how the Marlins play this. I would imagine the infield's looking for the bunt.
Coughlin's at first. Murphy's up. Then you got Gabby. Ugla. Remember, Hanley is available as a pinch hitter. Murphy squares and drops it down foul.
A couple of nice defensive plays by Donnie Murphy last inning. The turn of the double play, and then that ground ball getting the final out, getting spillboards.
Betancourt, a long and very serviceable run in Cleveland. He is 35, Venezuelan. Back to the big leagues with the Indians in 2003. Pitched in Japan. Pitched in the independent leagues. He was not a trade deadline, but about a week away from the deadline acquisition last year for Colorado. And pitched great for him down the stretch. Coughlin's running on a bunt and run, and it's foul.
I'm not sure what that play was. We'll certainly have to ask Edwin after the game, but the pitch was not a strike. If it were a bunt and run, okay, you got to make contact. But Coughlin got an unbelievable jump. And if you see that jump, you've got to pull back and let him take second base. He had that bag stolen easily. I don't think it was a bunt and run. I could be wrong.
I agree with you.
Because if it wasn't, it was a mistake by Donnie Murphy.
Now he's 0-2 against Betancourt. Betancourt,
boy, that's just a terrible sequence there in a tie game in the 8th inning.
Finishes him off. Here comes Gabby. About the only thing you can take out of that at bat, if you're the Marlins, is the fact that Coughlin has seen Betancourt, got a good jump off of Betancourt, and you know that. Time is called. Betancourt is one of those relievers who doesn't really come set. If you watch him in the stretch, as he brings his hands down, his leg is still moving, his side is still twitching.
But if he does it all the time, then it's not a walk. It's consistent.
Sanchez has 2 hits. See that left foot still moving? Jam Lexus presents leaders of the game. Highest batting average among rookies. Gabby at 304. Jam Lexus, price made us #1, 18 years running. Click jamlexus.com to find out how.
2 other guys that don't get enough mention: Starlin Castro and Freeze with St. Louis. The rookies doing a nice job. It's going to be a tough vote this year.
That one is fouled back.
Jaime Garcia.
I was just about to say, if the vote were taken right now, Gabby would probably have a hard time beating out Jaime Garcia, who's been a frontline starter with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, he beat the Phillies last night. He's 9-4 with a 2.21 ERA. Of course, remember Tommy Hanson was beaten out by Chris Coglin, so it can be done.
Garcia's been in the rotation longer than Hanson was.
Hanson wasn't, yeah.
Last year. Hanson kind of was I want to say an early June, mid-June type call-up. Counts 0-2. Ball's in the dirt. And it's 1-2. Well, you'd love to run on a breaking ball or change-up count. Coglin 9 stolen bases this year. Chris has been caught 3 times. Remember, Olivo's thrown out 43% though. Second in the National League.
And it seems like he's paying a lot more attention to Chris Coglin after that attempt during Donnie Murphy's at bat.
Gabby, of course, the big hit last night, a 3-run homer. Got the scoring started today with an RBI double. Coglin increases his lead. Betancourt, third out of the Rockies bullpen. Coglin's running. And Gabby fouls it back. And again, he got a pretty good jump.
Can't avoid that one there with 2 strikes. But yeah, another good jump. So that does tell us Chris has a good read on Betancourt.
The Reds are getting blasted at home by Washington 7-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Atlanta leads San Diego 4-0 in the 6th with Tim Hudson rocking and rolling in Atlanta. 3-hit shutout going for Hudson. Breaking ball. Gabby's run the count now to 2-2.
Boy, Gabby can put together some good at-bats. Seeing lots of pitches. That helps a lot of things. Helps himself. Helps the base runner. Puts a little more pressure on the pitcher.
Helps the on-deck hitter, Dan Uggla. Pitcher spot is 2 away. Let's see if Coglin's moving on the 2-2. He's running, got a good jump. Gabby swings and misses. Olivo's throw not in time. That's perseverance by Chris Coglin. And another strikeout for Rafael Betancourt.
Well, he just threw the fastball that time by Gabby, but another tremendous jump by Chris Coglin to allow him to pick up stolen base number 10. More importantly, to get into scoring position with 2 out. It's been a tough day for Dan Uggla. There's a chance that he can make everybody forget about the 3 previous at-bats. Uggs just 1 for his last 20 also.
All 3 at-bats, strikeouts All 3 at-bats against the lefty De La Rosa. Marlins just need a base hit. Coughlin's in scoring position. Ooh, he got a fastball, too. Most in the National League with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. The Marlins, the Giants, and the Mets. And there is Hanley on deck.
I'll tell you one thing about Betancourt, he's in no hurry.
Got a fastball, hits it in the air to left. Moore puts the glasses down and makes the catch. And the Marlins leave Coughlin in scoring position. Still tied 2-2. Jose Veras, who came in to get out of trouble in the 7th, a strikeout, and then he got Seth Smith to hit a BB back up the middle.
JJ, love that spearing of the line drive. It looked like it was by Veras. Things were looking pretty good then. It was a 2-1 game.
Marlins bring their closer in, Leo Nunez, in a 2-2 game. Nunez throws a strike to Miguel Olivo. Olivo, Clint Farmas. The first 2 up here against Nunez. Olivo sends that one towards the bullpen, and it's out of play. The Rockies have 7 hits with their 2 runs. The Marlins just 4 hits with their 2 runs. Great starting pitching for both teams. Josh Johnson for the Marlins, 6 1/3. JJ 1 shy of his career strikeouts. He punched out 11 through 120 pitches. Oh, Nunez. Nasty changeup. Came right back in on Olivo.
He was going to take that pitch and then saw it starting to come back and just couldn't get it. Josh Johnson lowered his ERA today, his major league leading ERA, from 1.62 to 1.61. Rockies have struck out 13 times.
Barmes, there's the fastball at 96. 3 times Barmes has gone down. 3 times Olivo has gone down.
Yeah, he had the 11 from JJ. Ferris got 1 strikeout, and that one there by Leo. We talk about this at home. You can bring that closer in for an inning to pitch the 9th inning with the score tied. You more than likely wouldn't do that on the road.
The Marlins have struck out 12 times against Rockies pitching.
So an afternoon of pitching here on camp day. Must be camp day in Atlanta too for Tim Hudson.
Nunez with the changeup that misses out. The Marlins in the bottom of the inning will have the pitcher spot due up, then Cody Ross and Mike Stanton. We saw Hanley ready to take an at bat in the bottom of the 8th. We'll see if he leads off. Nunez has dispatched Olivo and Barmes. They both have had tough days at the plate. Barmes 4 strikeouts, Olivo 3 strikeouts, and here's big Brad Eldred.
Yeah, he came in that double switch in the number 9 spot. And it was Eldred last night in a pinch hitting role, struck out to end the game against Leo Nunez.
But a guy capable of hitting one up in the seats.
And if you remember, he had some good swings, just missed a fastball, change-ups.
Pair of arms in the Rockies pen. Dulis Chassin and Houston Street. That last pitch. Well, it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Must have been up. And it was. Fox Tracks brought to you by Toyota. Three and 1.
Some of the camp counselors and buses may have to extend their stay to see an exciting walk-off win.
A lot of kids texting mom and dad right now saying, can we stay for extra innings? $29,102 in this cavernous stadium. 3-2 coming. He got it. Struck him out. Nunez strikes out Eldred. And the Marlins go to the bottom of the 9th in a 2-2 game. And who are you going to call? 1-877-Marooney. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. 2-2. Marlins and Rockies. Follow along with us. Melvin Mora is now at first base. He was in left field.
A few changes for Jim Tracy.
Dexter Fowler is in center field. We're not done yet.
Keep it going. Seth Smith moves into left field. Spilborghs goes over to right.
There's Spilborghs.
So some versatile outfielders.
And Smith over and left.
And Yolis Chassin on the mound.
Emilio Bonifacio will pinch hit to lead off the ninth. Marlins need this guy on. And we'll see if Bonifacio can work his way on. Chassin misses outside. Chassin's numbers. And a strike to Bonifacio. Cody Ross, Mike Stanton up next. Infield looking for a bunt. And Bonifacio behind in the count 1-2. Bonifacio, a decent series, 3 hits. When he gets on base, he can cause havoc. Takes in, and it's 2-2. Bonifacio drives it right center field. That ball lands, and it goes to the track. Bonifacio's racing for third, and he's going to get there. Wow, was he flying?
I told you, campers, stay around. Don't let that bus get going yet.
Dexter Fowler got to that ball on a hop, and normally you think if you do that, you hold the guy to a double, but not Bonifacio.
Yeah, you'd figure, well, he kept it from going all the way to the wall, so that's going to be a 2-base hit. Good play by Fowler to do that, but he forgot that Bonifacio was the runner. Oh, he's fun to watch.
Let's see what the Rockies do here. With Cody Ross up, they're going to intentionally walk him.
They may walk the bases loaded. If you're a manager, you think about a lot of things. Do you walk the bases loaded, or do you go after the guy on deck, Mike Stanton, the guy who could strike out, get it out that way? We'll see how Jim Tracy plays.
So Cody's down at first, and let's see if there's another walk coming up. Remember, Hanley Ramirez is in that dugout somewhere, available as a pinch hitter. After Stanton is Paulino and then Helms.
And it looks like they're going to walk Mike Stanton as well.
Some interesting stuff. I guess the next question to be asked here is, do you pinch hit for Paulino or Helms with Hanley? It's not a role that Hanley is accustomed to.
I don't think so. You have two guys who've been in the game, a role, as you said, that Hanley's not used to. Hanley on the year, just 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter.
They're definitely talking about it. Paulino makes a U-turn, but that's because Jim Tracy is on his way out to the mound. And the entire Rockies infield is going to converge. So the bases are loaded, and all of this follows an Emilio Bonifacio triple to open up the bottom of the 9th inning.
Well, the stage is set. Obviously, the Rockies would love to see a ground ball from Paulino to go home and get a double play that way. The outfield will be playing in.
Yeah, you've got, I mean, you can't have a better guy on your roster at third base in this situation if you hit a fly ball to even medium depth in the outfield. The infield's going to be in. Paulino is susceptible to strike out as well. So Chacin against Paulino. Bases loaded, nobody out. Infield in. First pitch is up, and it's 1-0. And the added pressure, of course, is that there's no place to put Paulino.
Yeah, the hard thing for a hitter in this situation is to put in your mind the pressure's on the guy on the mound to throw strikes.
Chacin's 1-0 pitch. Paulino, line drive, base hit, ball game, walk off. Marlins win it. Emilio Bonifacio started it with the triple. Ronnie Paulino ends it with a line drive into center field. And the Fish walk off with a big series win against the team that came into this series as the wild card leaders, but walk out of it no longer atop the wild card standings. And the Marlins draw within a game of 500.
What a great ending. All started by the triple off the bat of Bonifacio. Good approach by Ronnie Paulino. Look at his short, compact swing. He knew he just needed to get a base hit, launch a fly ball deep enough. He got the base hit, and the celebration began.
A South Florida Ford spotlight of the game on Ronnie Paulino. Marlins Live is coming up. 3-2 the final. Fish win it. And they take the series, winning 3 of 4.